Steph.
Hello.
Welcome to another episode of Bariatric Banter podcast.
Love it.
Love it. I'm recording by an open window today, so sorry for everyone if
You know what? It's a
you hear
beautiful day out. You got to take advantage of it.
it is. I am waiting for a new podcast mic to arrive because
Nice.
in the summer I want to record it in different locations, and I want to be able to record near my open window. So for right now, bear with me, folks. I'm using my lovely Mac, but I will be having a new podcast mic arriving soon.
It sounds fabulous.
Yes, it is fine. It's not as nice as the big old office setup, but I just want to work by a window.
You know what? I know. It'd be awesome too. Like I was thinking today, it'd be so nice if I could do this outside. But
Ah,
living beside a farm who is getting ready for to let the cows out, little noisy. So
let the cows out. Sorry, that was so
yeah.
cheesy.
I'm anxiously
So
awaiting. I've lived here for like years now, and every time that the cows come out for the first time for the season, I get so excited. So every morning I'm like opening the door quick at like 6 a.m. I'm like, are they out yet? No, not yet. But they're getting
I
ready.
love it.
Yeah.
Well, this is episode. God, we do this every time.
What is it? I think so.
19.
I think so.
We need to get better at that. But I think it's episode 19.
I agree.
And I'm just so happy to be back recording this episode.
Me too. I'm just like, it's just so much fun. And we talked about it before. It's also good. Like, it's cathartic for us. It's good therapy for us. It's accountability for us, but it's just fun.
It's just fun. At the end of the day, it is. It's a blast. And we love that you all reach out to us. So always hit us up.
Please.
There's never going to be a day that we're like, don't reach out to us. No, hit us up morning, noon, and night. We love it. And this one's going to be a good one. It's
I
one
think so.
that we've kind of hinted at talking about a few times, and we've said that we need to do it, and then we kind of put it off a little bit. But I think it's about time we have this conversation.
Do it.
This might resonate really well with people. It also might upset some people.
Ruffle
but,
some feathers. But
you
you know
know,
what? But it'll hopefully get some good conversation going and get some good thoughts
yes.
going.
And that's the goal. So today's episode, and I'm surprised we're actually getting to the episode 5 minutes into the start of this podcast, but today's episode is we didn't get fat eating salad.
It's true. It's true.
If you can't tell, we like a good title around here.
Right? It's the sayings. What is it? You don't make friends with salad is the one. And then you don't get fat eating salad.
And the truth is we did not get fat eating salad.
Would not have been in this predicament if my nutrition had been on point. End of discussion.
End of discussion.
And that's today's episode.
And done. So basically this episode is, really exploring how did we become obese? How did we stay obese is probably a more accurate title, because it's not like we just woke up one day and boom, we were obese. We were obese for basically our whole lives. And I think a huge part of surgery, and I would argue it's probably the hardest part of surgery, is having those very honest, raw, real conversations with yourself that nobody wants to have.
Yep.
And sometimes you're just like forced to deal with the reality. But in weight loss surgery, one of the biggest things that you have to address, and as my therapist says, what resists persists, but it's either going to be you coming to the table to think about it, or it's going to hit you like a sack of fucking bricks, is how did I get here? How did we get here?
Yeah. We didn't get here overnight.
No. We didn't get here eating salad.
It took time to get to that point. But there's also reasons behind it. And like, that's why we always talk about too, why as much as we may have a few issues, we'll say, with our program and how it was run, the fact that it was as lengthy as it was, and there were as many conversations as there were, because like we said, at the end of the day, we didn't get here overnight. Something got you to that point. Something was kicking around, driving you to do what you did. And it's important to, number one, figure out what that was if you don't already know, acknowledge it, come to terms with it, and then figure out how to improve it. So that's a big part of getting ready for surgery and a big part of post-surgery.
Yep.
And I will say, if you don't do that before surgery, good luck being successful after,
Yes.
because it's not going to happen.
It's not.
Because no, you're not, all those bad habits are still going to be there. The coping mechanisms which you used are still going to come into play. A lot of us are or have been emotion, I'd say probably emotional eaters and boredom eaters are probably the ones that come up the most, like stress eaters, emotional eaters. I was a boredom eater for sure. And if you can't figure that out before surgery and acknowledge it and put things in place to overcome that and fix and heal that relationship, the surgery doesn't fix that. We've said it before. The surgery doesn't change your brain and your habits. So that for me was one of the reasons why I was glad our program took as long as it did, because it gave me a good amount of time to work through that, or at least start to work through it.
Exactly. And I think, I know we kind of joke with this title of, we didn't get fat eating salad. Um, because like it's not, we're not here to like necessarily shame our previous selves. Like
Yep.
we'll talk about the things that we obviously did, because again, kind of to Steph's point, like if we don't put this out in the world and on the table, then we're doomed to repeat it.
Yeah.
And we're doomed to make excuses, and we're doomed to kind of just be like, well, and so I think that's the main reason we want to talk about it, is like it is a huge part of recovery now.
Yep.
Gross, excuse me. Um that we have to kind of confront those demons.
Yeah.
It's no similar than somebody who has, let's say, a shopping addiction, or is making bad life choices, is financially not responsible, or I hate to always use alcoholics because that's a huge struggle, and I'm not trying to equate what we do with that, but it's kind of that, right? You can't get the help you need and move on if you don't sit down and say, I am the failure here. At some point I do have to take responsibility.
Yep.
And what I think is super hard is a lot of us won't when we're obese. And again, Steph and I speak from being obese. Like I literally
Yeah.
was obese my whole life. I was an
Yeah.
overweight child. I think
Me
the
too.
only
Yep.
time I was thin was when I was in grade 1, and then it just kept going from there, right? So
Yep.
I know people will go, well, it's not your fault when you're a kid. And like, sure, but I also then became a functional adult that didn't make any good changes either. So this
Yep.
is not me blaming my parents or blaming society. But the problem is, like, when obese, we blame everybody but ourselves. It's all
Yes.
excuse after excuse after excuse after excuse. And even now, you'll see people who have surgery that will not follow the rules and then make excuses. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
PCOS, it's thyroid, it's this, it's perimenopause, it's menopause,
Yeah.
it's it. Like,
All
and
the things.
I get it. Those things fucking suck.
Yeah.
Um,
And
but,
they make it really hard. But
but,
like that, but there's a
but,
but.
but it's not impossible, and it's not making you obese. Like, I know the exhaustion and the fatigue. I have it. Like,
Yeah.
I know that feeling.
Yep.
Yes. Do I have to push through it? I do. Does that suck because you're
Yeah.
tired and you just want to eat and sleep and you don't really? Yeah, it does. But
Yeah.
that's the lot in life I've been given. And I can either succumb to it and then have no right to complain about being obese,
Yeah.
or I have to push through it. And then I can say, this is so much harder than it is for other people. And it really is. But
Yep.
this is the path I have to take because this is what I've been given in life.
Yeah. It's we've said it before, and that's just it. It doesn't make it impossible. It makes it a hell of a lot harder. Um, but that just means unfortunately you have to work a little bit harder and you have to push a little bit harder. And it's probably going to go slower for you like we've talked about. And it means you might have to make more sacrifices than somebody else who doesn't have those issues or those hurdles. It may mean that you have to work a little bit harder than those people. You have to be a little bit more patient than those people. Um, but it's not an excuse to make bad choices. And I did it. I used them as excuses, instead of just using them as struggles or extra hurdles. It was just a flat out excuse, or I can't because of this. Um, and that was a comfort, right? I could use that to justify things. I could use that to, oh, I'm so tired from my PCOS. I can't work out today. Well, yeah, you are really, really tired, but you can still make the choice to get off the couch and go for a walk. Nobody's saying you have to put in a 60-minute crazy weightlifting workout, but I'm pretty sure you could get off the couch for 15, 20 minutes, walk around the block, and call it a day.
Mhm.
So it really comes down to what what are you willing to put into it, and how much accountability are you willing to take for your actions or your lack thereof.
Exactly. And that's, that's where the title kind of comes from because, well, I remember the excuses I would make, and like there were a lot of them. But things that I would say and say often with a straight face was, I
Yeah.
don't eat enough.
Yep.
And you'll hear that a lot. And I even have
I'm
people,
under eating.
I have people now that it will say that to me, that will be like, no, trust me, the food is not the reason I'm fat, or the food is not the reason I'm obese. You are painting this as black and white, and there's so many other factors. Yet there's not. Like, and I'm sorry to be that blunt, but like there isn't. Okay. It is calories in, calories out. Fight me on this if you want. Be very wary of going and finding things that support your weight on the internet. And then like
Mhm.
a lot of people will go and find communities that are, going to make them feel good about their bad choices,
Yep.
make them feel like, it's not about eating and it's not about diet. And it is. At the end of
Yep.
the day, it really, 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 truly is,
Yep.
because the whole surgery is literally just built around calories in, calories out. You can pretend it's not, but the whole point of this surgery is eat less, lose weight.
Right.
There's no other aspect to this surgery except eat less, lose weight.
Yep.
Like they don't go in and change any other part of your
No.
body. Your brain's
No.
not affected, your lungs, your heart, not literally small stomach, eat less, lose weight.
Yeah.
So I would tell people that I didn't eat enough. I would often say, "Oh, I'm in starvation mode." And actually, what happens when you're in starvation mode is you keep all the weight. And so anything you eat just gets turned into fat, and that's why you're fat, but like you're actually starving.
Mhm.
Such a fucking insult to people who literally starve and who don't eat, and like just insane.
Yeah.
But I would convince people that I didn't eat enough because I wasn't eating breakfast and lunch, and oh, woe is me, I'm wasting away to nothing. And then I would convince myself that because I didn't have breakfast and lunch, like I was really, my blood sugar must be low, and I must be wasting away, and I'm going to need to
Yeah.
eat right now, and I'm going to have a, it's okay to have an appetizer, a main, and a
'Cause I
dessert.
didn't eat all day.
I didn't eat all day, and this is totally fine. And I wouldn't count calories. So I was just like, well, it's one meal, it's fine. It's not
5,000
one,
calories later.
exactly. It's not
Yeah.
just one meal.
Yeah.
Also, it's super calorie dense. It's not like I chose to go have a nice leafy salad
Spoiled.
with some quinoa and roasted chicken. I was, having stuff that was crazy high in calorie. And Steph and I have said before, just because you think it's healthy that you're going to a restaurant, it's not.
Yeah.
Restaurants are not healthy. Even if it is a
No.
healthy restaurant, they are not healthy. You are not controlling the oil, the fat, the butter. And now in Canada, because it is required that you have the calories listed, you should start taking a look at things,
Yeah.
because a chicken salad is 1,000 calories at a lot of restaurants. Like
Yeah.
something that you don't even realize. Crumble cookie's the one I'm going to use because I think it's outrageous that something like this exists. A crumble cookie is 4 servings per cookie.
Who's actually cutting that into 4 pieces?
Who's
Let's
like,
be
"I'm just
real.
gonna have a little fourth
Let's
of a
be
cookie of
real.
a cookie."
Yeah.
And so their cookies are 900 to 1,200 calories a cookie
Each.
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 So it's little things like okay, this was a great example. I had a friend who said, her husband really liked candy, and she didn't want him eating as much candy because it wasn't healthy for him. So instead, the little snack she'd bring home is just 10 Timbits. And, it's really great because he's not eating all this candy anymore.
Have you
We're
looked
just
at
going to have
how many
Timbits. And I
calories
was
a
like,
Timbit is?
so one Timbit is 100 calories. I said that 10 pack of Timbits is 1,000
1,000
calories.
calories.
And we're not trying to shame people, but like
No.
I can look back and go, there were points in my life where I'd pound a box of 10 Timbits as a snack.
Yeah, be like, "Oh,
Where I'd
it's
be
only
like,
10 little Timbits."
yeah, and, like, anybody can eat 10
What?
little Timbits because
They're
there's
Timbits.
nothing to them. They're a
Yeah.
sugar fart. But I would pound a box of 10 Timbits as a snack. Most of us did after soccer, after baseball, on a
Yeah.
road trip,
Yep.
and that's 1,000 calories. Most
Yep.
of you only need 2,000 calories a day to survive, and that was a snack.
Yep.
A
And it's
snack.
like you said, it's not about shaming, it's about being aware.
Mhm.
And I think that's something too is just we were so busy justifying our behavior that we were oblivious
Oh,
to what was actually
we
happening,
weren't.
partially by
We weren't.
choice, partially by choice, but I think partially just because we didn't give a shit.
We
Like,
didn't push it.
I would be oblivious to how many calories were in the pizza I ate, but it was because I didn't care.
Yep.
Not because I didn't have a choice around it. It was because I didn't care or I found a way to justify it. Or like we would, oh, I worked out today. I can have dessert. Well, then what was the point of the workout? Right?
Mhm.
I'm not somebody who, even today, I don't eat my calories from a workout. So if I work out and it
Oh,
says,
I don't
yeah,
either.
and it said, let's say, for example, you burn 300 calories. I don't add those 300 calories
I do not
onto
either.
my food.
Yeah.
But there was definitely days where you justify, yeah, I know I went and saw the trainer today, or I went to the gym and I did my workout. So yeah, I can go out for lunch, or I can get um, and that, not to say again, and we've said this before, we're not saying you can never do these things. We're not saying you can never go to a restaurant, or you can never have dessert, or you can never have pizza, but
Correct.
you have to be accountable for your actions. You
Yes.
have to do things in moderation. And you
Yes.
have to, this is again where like tracking your food. If you can work it into your day, do it. Did I have two? Now, ooh, you're gonna say, ooh, two. But did I have two McDonald's chicken nuggets the other day? Sure as hell did. But
Yep.
did I track them in my day? Yes.
Yep.
And did I build my day around it? Yeah. And I fit it into my day. Am I doing it all the time?
Yeah.
No. But we were out. I knew we'd be busy. We were going, I knew everyone was going to McDonald's. And I thought, you know what? Yeah. I haven't had fast food. We haven't ordered pizza. We haven't done anything in since surgery, since before surgery. So yeah, I'm gonna have my two nuggets. And it's fine. But I tracked it in my day. I worked it into my macros, and it's not an everyday habit. And that's all we're
Correct.
saying is you have to be vigilant and you have to be aware and accountable of what you're doing. And if you want to do it, but then don't make an excuse for it.
Yeah. And that, so like, that's the thing. When I was obese, I would make excuses for everything. So that's why I said, like, was I aware? No, but was I? Yes. So, like, I wouldn't count calories or look at anything because I knew in the back of my mind, you don't want to see what this is, right? I would
You
just
know
kind
it's
of
going to be
go
bad.
over, I would think about volume versus calories,
Yeah.
but even then I wasn't looking at my snacking, my grazing,
Yeah.
the gorging aspect of things. Oh, if everybody else is having a chocolate bar, it's a chocolate bar. Who cares? I'm going to have one too. Working in an office that had chocolate bars was
Oh my gosh.
fucking deadly. Might I?
Having fully stocked kitchens and beer and
Right.
cider on tap and catered lunch every day.
Oh
Remember
yeah.
those days, Hannah?
Remember those days. I
Yeah.
never looked at the alcohol going in and out of my body either. And then I
No.
wouldn't work out. I would make excuses about, well, I'm tired and I don't need to. And
Yeah.
like, it's a double edged sword because I would tell myself, oh, well, it's about my diet, not about exercising anyway. So who cares? And it's just, yeah, I didn't get this way because I just ate salad.
Yeah.
And it, it's the reality that a lot of people just don't want to come to because I get it. When you're obese, you are so good at overlooking things, of convincing yourself that you're
Lying.
healthy, of really convincing yourself, and this was the big one, that it's not you.
It's not your
That
fault.
it's not your fault, that you had nothing and have nothing to do with this, that it's your genetics, it's your medical history, it's
Yeah.
all these others, and it's never, ever, 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 ever on you.
Everything's always working against you.
Oh, right, and anybody who tries to tell you to eat healthy doesn't understand and doesn't get it, and
Yep.
you seek out groups that convince you that PCOS is why you're obese and you're never gonna be
There's
able to fix
nothing you
it
can
and
do.
get
It's
on
not
top
your
of it and
fault.
and you actually will reach a point where, yeah, probably on your own, you won't be able to get on top of this. Like, my doctor
No.
was very honest with me. He said, "I really don't think you can do this without surgery
Yeah.
because you've got a lot of cards stacked against you." And he didn't mean PCOS, he meant you have now reached a critical weight limit
Yeah.
where
You got to do
it's going to
something
be
now.
really hard for you to get out and get walking because your joints are falling apart, your legs are
Yep.
achy. And there will be obese people going, well, I don't have high blood pressure and my joints don't ache. Okay, first of all, most of the things that you have while obese don't have symptoms until it's too late. Second of all, sure, if you want to convince yourself that being obese is healthy,
Yep.
fine. That I can't convince you either way because you've convinced yourself, but it's not. And my doctor had said you need surgery because I really just don't think with everything stacked against you, you're
Yep.
going to be able to do this. You've been trying and you're not sticking with it. Now he wasn't making excuses for me and he wasn't saying, "Oh, well because you have PCOS you'll never lose weight."
Right.
He could see that I was never gonna be able to stick to something,
It
that I was
spiraled it
never
spiraled
gonna make
too
it
far at
happen.
that point.
Yep, and he knew, he probably
Yeah,
knew. She's just gonna keep eating the way she wants to
yeah.
eat because it's so easy, because it
It's
happens to me now
it's
to
so
go.
ingrained, and it becomes so ingrained within you and such a habit, and we talk about how habits are so hard to build, and they are. Like, habits are incredibly difficult to build, and that's why we always say, like, small achievable goals, one thing at a time, stack the habits as you go. Um, but once you have those habits, they're very hard to break. And so when you've cycled through it for years and years, and you've given yourself the same talk track for years and years, it is incredibly hard to break it, and that's why we've talked about, doing binge diets, and where we see success for a little bit, and then those old habits just creep back in, and there's nothing there's nothing wrong with saying I need help. And I think that's a big reason one of the big reasons why I think some people are afraid to go down this route. Number 1, yeah, it's surgery, I get that. But it's hard to say I can't do this, and it's hard to say I need help. Um, and to admit, I'm not gonna say failure, but to admit defeat. And it's exhausting going through the cycle of binge diet and fad diets and this topic and trying this supplement. It is physically and mentally exhausting. And at some point, for your own good, whether it's surgery, whether it's getting a personal trainer, whether you're going on a GLP-1, whether you just want to get your nutrition in check, at some point you need to say, okay, I need something has to change.
Yeah,
I need some help. I cannot do this alone. And there's
no.
nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that. But in that journey, you need to sit down and have some very hard conversations with yourself.
Yeah.
And like, you're not going to like it because for some reason, when we're obese, we're so adverse to diet. And we like the fat acceptance community has done a wonderful job convincing everyone that diets are the pure enemy of the world. But you will convince yourself that it's not diet and that you're starving and that you're doing a really good job and that you're eating really healthy because you're making things at home. But like, are you, or do you go out to eat once a week because that's the family thing that happens, or are you ordering food that you think is healthy? Like, spoiler, shawarma is not healthy just because there's salads and stuff and it's chicken. Like, are you convincing yourself that what you're doing is healthy? Like, even the crackers that you buy, like, I do keep crackers in the house. I do know they're a slider food, but I like to have
Who
my.
eats it other than us? Who eats a normal portion of crackers? Let's be real,
Okay, so there, right? And that's what
right?
I was gonna say is, like, I take a portion of crackers, and that's almost
Which is
150
so small,
calories.
so
And
small.
some of them are 200. So, like, there's little things you're not thinking of where you're like, "Well, it's just some crackers. Well, it's just some cheese." Like, you
It
anyway,
adds
if
up.
you're gonna be successful in the surgery, you kinda just have to have a better mentality, but
Yeah.
even if you're not having surgery and you wanna lose weight, at the end of the day, the one thing I didn't do and that I avoided like the plague was taking fucking accountability. The
Yeah,
amount of like, even my mom was like, "Oh my god, the amount of times you just lied about things and you just,
yeah,
you were so convinced that this was gonna fix it, and you spent all this time trying to diagnose what was wrong with you and convinced that it was this disease or this disease or this thing or that thing."
yeah.
Tests would come back normal, things would be fine, but like, you were so convinced and and you just
Instead
instead
of
of
just going back
around
to the basics.
walking.
Yeah, the
And that's what my mom
basics.
said, like, getting you to go for a walk, you had all these fucking excuses. You were always
Mhm.
tired and you were too busy and, "Oh, I do a ton of exercise, don't even oh, I exercise all the time, actually." And it's like, "No, you
There
don't."
you
And
go.
you get winded taking the garbage out. Like, I would pile all my garbage up and put it out in a little wagon outside of my apartment and then drag the wagon to the garbage. And I remember my mom was like, "Oh my God, like, this is ridiculous. Your garbage is on the corner around your condo." But like,
Yeah.
I couldn't physically take my garbage out every day. And I convinced myself I didn't need to. Well, oh, doesn't it just suck to have stairs? Oh, everybody must hate taking this out. And now I laugh because I take my garbage out probably twice a day.
It
I'm
takes,
taking
like,
the dog out
30
all the
seconds.
time. Yeah. And I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
embarrassing. Or
Right?
my doctor is across the street, literally across the street. I
Yeah,
would drive. I would drive
yeah,
to my doctor's appointment and I
yeah,
would convince myself, well, my back hurts or my leg hurts or, oh, it's kind of cold out. And, oh, it's quicker if I just drive. Like, again, subconsciously, I would make these choices and convince myself that
yeah.
this was it. that, I was fine.
Yeah.
I was actually under eating and people were concerned I didn't eat enough and, I should treat myself and here I go and I need to fuel and blah, blah, blah. And now I look back and go, oh my God, the amount that I ate out, the amount that I thought it was
Yeah.
totally okay to have these things,
Yep.
the amount of bread that I fucking ate on a daily basis. And it's
Yep.
not that bread's bad. It's that literally I would just eat fucking
And if you're
carbs.
not burning it, if
There
you're
was
not doing
no
anything to burn it,
nothing. There's
yeah.
no vegetables, no protein. It was just
No.
like crackers, bread, carbs,
Mhm.
carbs, and I was like, "Holy
And then
shit,
you just sit there.
holy shit."
Yeah.
And even now, just because I've lost weight doesn't mean I don't have to slap myself a few times and say,
Get
not
back on track.
literally,
Yeah.
but that I don't have to sit myself down and go, "What the fuck are you doing?" Like, you're gonna go there's a bird on my windowsill, it's beautiful. Hello. Are you really gonna be doing this? Like, there was definitely a moment where my neighbor has a friend over and blah, 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 like, "Do you wanna go get gelato?" And I was like, "Yes."
Yes, I do.
I go once a fucking month for gelato. It is my treat. I love it. Let's go. And then literally 2 days later, it was like, "Oh, I think we might go back again. It was just so good." And I was like, "Oh my god, let's do it." And then I was like, "No. What are you doing? You had your gelato. You
Right.
can go with them and hang out. You don't need to go do this again.
Yeah.
You're getting sucked into, well, everybody else is doing
The
it, so I'm gonna
social.
do it. Let's go."
Yeah.
No, you don't have that luxury anymore. Not that you had it before, but no, you will not be doing that. And yeah, I had to kind of like hard reset myself to be like, and I have to do it often. Like,
Yeah.
no, you're making bad choices. No, you don't need to be ordering food. I don't care how busy you are. You need to be meal prepping.
Yep.
No, that is not healthy. And the apps have to go. I know I have to delete them, but I every now and then like getting groceries delivered, and I think that that is old obese Hannah's excuse
Yep.
sneaking in, where I'm like, "Well, Steph, I use it for groceries though, and
Right.
that's why I have to keep it." The
Exactly.
truth is I catch myself on there way more than I should, where I'm like, "Well, I think I'll order something," and I put it in the cart, and then I go, "You
What are you
don't
doing?
need this.
Yeah.
Go make something." Like, are you
Yeah.
seriously gonna spend this much money and eat that many calories?
Oh, man.
Like,
Looking
seriously?
back, when we lived in KW, because where we live now, we don't have Uber Eats and all of those things,
Yeah.
unless, like, you could Uber Eat a carton of eggs from the farm next door. We don't have the luxury of takeout, really. We have a pizza place in town, um, and that's about it. We have a butcher shop, but, like, we don't have fast food, um, which has been a huge godsend. But looking back when we lived in KW, the amount of times we would Uber Eats dinner because we were tired, the kids, the this, we have this, I don't feel like cooking, oh, I forgot to take something out. Oh, I don't feel like going to the store.
Yep.
If I pulled up that history, and I did, pulled up that history and looked at the amount of number 1, the amount of money we spent,
All the
but the
money.
amount of times a month that we would order, but again, "Oh, we're getting shawarma, it's fine." Or, "Oh, we're getting subs, it's fine." It wasn't convincing ourselves that it's not takeout, like, yeah, it's takeout, but, I mean, we're not getting, like, pizza, and we're not getting fries, and we're getting all this stuff. It's okay because we're getting subs, and it's okay because we're getting shawarma. We're making good choices. Well, yeah, okay, those are probably healthier than some of the other options. But again, when you're doing it once or twice a week, constantly, and then you're just sitting on the couch
And eating.
eating,
Yep.
it's really still not a good choice. And I've
It's
had people that I've talked to that have reached out to me about surgery,
mhm.
and have conversations, and their comment is, "Well, I just can't do it because I love food too much." Well, obviously, those of us in this situation also love food. If we didn't, again, we wouldn't be in this predicament.
Mhm.
And that goes back to, we're not saying you can't have those foods. Like Hannah just said, she goes out for gelato. I just had chicken nuggets. Um, we're not saying you can't have those foods, but it just goes back to, again, like I said, being accountable, all things in moderation. Make some swap outs. Look for some healthier ways to do things. Look for some healthier options. Don't use the food as a reward or as a crutch. That's
Or like I
where,
said, to show love or to show gratitude
yeah,
other ways, flowers.
you can still have those things. You just have to look at, the food differently. You have to figure out your relationship with it, where those struggles are coming from, why you're making those choices, and get to the bottom of that first. And for me, it was, like I said, boredom was a huge thing for
Or,
me. Huge thing. Um, Also, not paying attention to my hydration. A lot of times when I was thirsty, I would eat
Yep.
instead of actually being like, oh, it's 3 o'clock and you've had one coffee today. Maybe you should drink some water instead of eating some food.
Mhm.
But anytime I got a little bit bored, food
Yep.
was the thing. But
Yep.
you need to figure that out, and you need to come to terms with it. Give
Yeah.
yourself grace, as my friend Denise as Denise always says, bless and release. Give
Yes.
yourself grace, right? Yes,
Yeah.
we got to the position we were in. Is there anything up until then that we could do to change it? No. We did what we did. We put ourselves in the position we were in, but
Yep.
now it was time to put on our big girl panties, own up to it, admit what we did, and
Yes.
start fresh. Make those new steps, figure out what the problem is, work towards it, and then put the new steps in place and put your hand up. Admit you need help, admit defeat. It's not a bad thing. And then start the steps down the path to making those changes. And it's not hard. I mean, it's not hard. It's not easy. It's hard as shit, but it's so incredibly worth it. And it becomes so empowering to be able to make those decisions and to be able to say no. You will be so much more proud of yourself saying no than feeling guilty and hating yourself after saying yes and sitting there on the couch going, why the hell did I just pound that back?
Mhm.
That feeling compared to the feeling of knowing you made a good choice and you
Mhm.
said no and you did something good for yourself, there's no comparison.
Yeah, and it's not easy. There's a book, it's controversial.
Uh-oh.
I
Uh-oh.
liked it, but there's a book that I bought that I really liked called Never Binge Again, and I bought it before surgery because I was like, I do that. I do sit and I nest and I binge, and also I need to add huge, huge PSA over this whole episode. Please see a therapist.
Yes.
This is not something that you're gonna be
You
easily
can't.
able to kind of
No, you need
tackle.
help to talk through this. You need help
Yes,
to talk through it.
because there's a lot that goes into, like, the
Figuring it
binging,
out.
eating,
Yeah.
and it's things like, um, well, I'm doing it because I'm anxious, or I'm bored, or it's my reward, or it's this, or it's
Yeah.
that, like, there's so much that goes into it, but I
People
digress.
don't
I bought
realize
it.
that they can help pull out of the conversation and they can help you identify.
Yes.
Yeah.
I bought this book and, controversy or not aside, whatever, some people love it, some hate it, but I bought it before surgery to read it because I was like, "Well, maybe it's just that simple." But I like how he framed it where, and again, maybe he didn't pick the best example, but basically he framed it as like there's the
Okay.
your goals, your logic, your vision, like there, and that is in you when you're obese. Like, you know what you're doing, you know what you want to
Yeah.
achieve and do.
Yep.
And then he labeled the other part and he said, pick your own animal, but he picked the animal for him as the pig. Some people pick a wolf, some people pick a bear. I picked a wolf, but basically the other part of you
Yeah.
that just wants like cake, chips, chaos, instant gratification, like
Yeah.
works against you. The animal speaks in rationalizations. Like the animal will often say, "You deserve this. It's
Mhm.
just once. Start tomorrow. You're doing great." And you have to start saying like, "Oh, that's not me. That's not Hannah. That's
Yep.
the animal speaking." Like, and I don't listen to that animal. So it was a way of him just kind of saying, and I know people were like, "Why would he pick a pig?" And I was like, "I don't know. I kind of get it. It's funny." But it was his way of saying like, there are two versions of yourself, and you have to
Yep.
start kind of identifying when that voice comes in that that
Yeah.
is not really you and that is not what you want. Um, and then he kind of says like, set rules and don't do vague things like I'm just going to eat healthy. It's I don't eat after 8 p.m.
Something
I only
tangible. Yeah.
Yeah, I only have sweet treats on Saturdays. I never eat on the couch while gaming. Like, and this kind of takes me back to therapy where she was like, it
Yep.
can't be vague. You need to be clear.
Yeah.
Um, and so it was interesting because he doesn't believe in calorie counting and meal plans and things
Hmm.
like that. You know
Interesting.
how we feel. He
Yep.
believes in like you got to shift your mindset.
Okay.
And he believes that binge eating is not emotional, it's like a neurological habit that you can rewire. Now again, agree or disagree.
Yep.
um, I kind of liked the idea. For me it kind of worked
Yeah.
about um,
Separating the two.
having the animal
Yeah.
and then kind of telling myself that's not you, it's the animal. The animal literally thrives
Yeah.
on ambiguity and chaos, and it wants to go back to doing all of that. Don't let it. um, and then I really like the notion of because you'll hear a lot of people say, "Oh my God, Hannah, you need to give yourself more self-compassion." Like, "Oh my gosh, you need to, you need to be, you're going to slip up and fit." And it's like, I get that, but to me, self-discipline is self-love.
Right. Being
Um,
able to make the best decision for you is
yes.
self-love. The animal thing's interesting, and it's it's funny because, um, one of my daughters go to counseling too, and, which I think is great for kids. Um, and they talk about and I was just talking to her principal about it, and she just told me the book, and of course, now I cannot remember the name of the book. But it uses same type of analogy where they talk about, the guard dog and the wise owl. And
Hmm.
how when you have an outburst and somebody makes you angry or something bad happens and you initially burst out, that's your guard dog who is trying to defend you, trying to stick up, trying to bark, trying to scare, versus stopping, taking a step back, taking a breath, analyzing the situation, and using the wise owl to then think, do I really need to react to this? Do I really need to give this space? And so we talk a lot about the guard dog and the wise owl. And
Yep.
which we need to use more of in certain situations. So it's interesting that he's also kind of leveraging that, but it's true. You do have, it's like the angel and the devil, right? You have those two parts of you that are fighting, and which one do you listen to, and how do you talk the other one down? And again, I think that's why he said therapy 100%, because they can help pick out some of those things that you clearly either have not been able to identify yourself, or have maybe been lying to yourself about, or are trying to ignore. So having that outside person who's not biased, listen and help you identify that, and then they can help you identify and acknowledge when those two parts of you are talking, and how to listen to one versus the other, and the talk track to use for yourself. Because let's be honest, we don't have a record when most of us, not all of us, but most of us, when we're obese and in this situation, we're not very nice to ourselves. The talk track that we typically have for ourselves is, oh, you messed up again. Why'd you do that? Why are you making bad choices? Why are you doing this to yourself? Look at how bad you look. Look at how crappy you look in that outfit. Well, look at the number on the scale that you did now. Look at the new roll you got because you ate that cake again. We're not known for being kind to ourselves or speaking nicely to ourselves. And that's something that you have to work on with this as well. And that all comes together with, how do I start to treat myself with respect? How do I start to give myself that self love? How do I start to look at the positive side of things? How do I start to listen to that right voice and talk nicely to the right voice, but also talk nicely to the not so nice voice, to put it back out of my mind without demonizing myself.
Exactly.
It's such a mental, as we said, it's such a mental game to this. And that's why it's really important to sit down, like you said, sit down and have that initial conversation with yourself and put it all on the table. But give yourself grace. Admit what you've
Yes.
done.
Yes.
There's nothing you can do about it
No.
in the past. What's done
No.
is done.
And I
You
think,
can
you
only
know
move
what? That's
forward.
a great thing to highlight here. We're not about beating up past Hannah.
No.
Like, I
It is what
honestly,
it is.
I praise past Hannah a lot, and
Yep.
like, people who know me will know I've said, like, I did not get where I am today without her, and I
Yeah.
do mean that in a good and a
It's
bad
part of
way.
your
Like,
journey.
wouldn't have gotten to weight loss surgery without her, but, like,
Yeah.
I did try. It's not that I didn't try, I did try. It's that if I truly think what held me back, it's that I wasn't being honest with myself and that I wasn't maybe a
100%.
little bit, again, more disciplined.
Yep.
I don't think it's called beating yourself up. I think, like, self-love is not just blindly letting you do whatever you wanna do
No.
and going, "Oh,
No.
well." Like, at some point, I needed to sit down and go,
Wake up, Hannah.
probably should see a therapist and talk
Yeah.
about food, because I never wanted to talk about food. I talked about everything else.
Yeah.
Anxiety, always fucking anxiety. Like, just, work related
Everything
stuff.
but.
Wouldn't talk about, like, I'm fat and I don't want to be and I don't know why I'm fat. And, like, unpacking, honestly, like, do I eat because I'm anxious? Yeah, because I've now connected, oh, well, I can cause my anxiety to feel better if I eat, right? And,
Mhm.
like, even that, tying my anxiety to, well, I bet it's blood sugar. I bet it's blood pressure. I bet
Right.
it's like, it's now all food related. And yet I can clearly look at blood work and say, you have impeccable blood sugar. You
Yep.
have great blood pressure.
Yeah.
Like it's, excuse me, anxiety because that old me wants to get back to binge eat, 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 eat,
Yeah.
eat, eat. Here you go.
Self-soothe with food.
Yeah, and it happens now. So, like, I'll
Yeah.
be I'll be honest. Steph knows because I messaged her. I have been in a stall and it's annoying as fuck. And then all of a sudden, I got on the scale and I like whoosh down 5 pounds. I was like, holy shit, holy
Finally,
shit. I'm like, I'm so on the edge of like just 10 more pounds and I'm at my goal weight. And then all of a sudden, the
Mhm.
next fucking day, I gained 7 fucking pounds and I lost it to Steph. I was like, "How
Yep.
in the fuck is that even possible?" And now I must add, like, my scale must be broken because I've gotten on it again and I've gone down 4 pounds and I'm like, "I can't fluctuate
Something's
this
not
way.
right here.
I'd be dead."
Yeah.
So I think my scale's just on its fucking way out. But, did I immediately just wanna be like, "Well, whatever,
What's the
yeah,
point?
fuck then. Let's
Yep.
eat junk food." Like, my neighbor has
Yeah.
a friend over, and she's like, "We should hang out," and, like, she orders food a lot, and I can get into this habit of, like, well, if she's ordering it, I'll
I
order it,
might as
and
well. Yep.
I was really close, and then I was like, "You know what, dude? I can't. Like, I have to get back on track."
Yeah.
We ordered the other day. I mean, it wasn't terrible food that we ordered.
Yep.
It was. We ordered chicken wings
Yeah,
and
you
there are
did.
other and, like, it felt good in the moment, but then I was like, "No, I can see how slippery this slope is, and I
Yeah.
see what's happening here."
Yep.
And so I had to say, we can definitely hang out, but I'm not ordering food. Like, you
Yep.
guys can absolutely order it, but, like, I'm not. I have to get back on track. I'm not tracking. I'm not following my meal prep. I'm kind of flying by the seat of my pants. I have a vacation coming, like, and I
Yeah.
know what's gonna happen here.
Right.
So, the old me is still here,
Yes.
especially, like, when I have people over, or I sit down to play video games, or I'm just not feeling well because I haven't been feeling well lately. So it's like, "Well, you're sick, so you can have whatever you wanna have because 'cause
Right?
you're sick," and it's
You're
like,
sick.
"Shut the fuck up. No,
No,
you
I
can't.
can't.
Like,
No, I
no, you
can't.
can't. Like, stop doing this because it's actually gonna make things worse." So,
Yep.
it, don't beat your old self up because my old self tried really hard, but if you can take anything away from this, what slowed my progression, what slowed my success, and what is still a massive challenge for me even now
Yep.
is being brutally honest with myself and
Yeah.
saying,
Yeah.
"You were not in starvation mode. You were not making the right choices. You are
Yeah.
not following the plans. You don't have any right to be upset, to talk about the stall, to be mad. Like, come on. You
Yeah.
know, this is not what you're supposed to be doing."
Right.
And that's what tracking gives me. And I know people hate this idea and notion of it. And that's fine. You do you, boo boo. What it gives me is the freedom to feel good about my choices in a sense. I'm not saying good
Yeah.
about food and I'm not trying to, go down that rabbit hole, but basically it gives me the ability to say, okay, cool. I'm not as off track as I think I am because without it, you
Yeah.
really beat yourself up. You can really get in a negative place of you just had this weight loss surgery and why are you doing this and this is so bad and nobody knows how to accurately add up what you ate in a day. Okay,
Right.
full stop, you don't.
Yeah.
And I will overestimate at this point like because
Oh,
I'm,
for sure.
and it's like no. No.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I still battle. I still battle
Yeah.
emotional eating, I still battle sickness eating, I still just battle, like, anxiety eating. "Oh, your blood
Yeah.
sugar must be low, go eat some sugar," and it's like, "It's not
Love
fucking
some
low.
candy.
It's not low. Stop
But
that."
that's
Like,
just it, right? The surgery doesn't solve all the brain stuff.
correct.
All it does, literally, all it does is depending on what you had done, but like for us, all we did was cut a portion of our stomach out. That's it.
Mhm.
That's all we did. We
That's it.
made we made the container smaller, but all of the things that decide what go into that container are still there.
Still there.
So you need that's why we always say like it's not a magic pill, it's not a magic tool. I'll loop it back to all the people that say you cheated, you took the easy way out.
Yeah, okay.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah, okay.
we still yeah, okay. Right? We
Right.
still have to deal with all of the whys. Why are you doing this? Why do you want to put that in your body? Why are you making these choices? That's the hard part. And like whether you've had surgery or not, that is the hardest part of the journey is admitting why, coming to terms with it, admitting that yeah, you messed up, you made some shit choices, but get over it. Start fresh. Today's a new day. Move on. make those small achievable goals as to how you're going to move forward, get some successes going,
Mhm.
but forget about what you did. Stop dwelling on the past. Stop using, oh, well, I already messed up this week. I might as well keep going. No, you messed up yesterday. That was yesterday. Who gives
That
a
was
shit?
yesterday.
Get over it and start again. That's
Exactly.
the big thing.
That's the big thing. So have those slightly uncomfortable conversations with yourself and really, really look at stuff. You're not allowed to make excuses and you're not allowed to self soothe here. You have to have the hard conversations. And that will include like, what can you no longer buy and keep in the house? Because
Right.
there are things that we can't be trusted with.
Yeah.
What do we need to get rid of? And like, it's going to suck because you're going to immediately try to justify every decision here and you need to stop. So if that's things like, well, as a family, we eat out once a week, you probably shouldn't.
Yeah.
Like, you probably need to say, "I think we need to get rid of that." And maybe it's, we barbecue once a week or we do X, like, there's going to be traps
Yeah.
sprinkled throughout that you're going to try really hard to justify. But I'd say, like, eating out in itself is not inherently bad,
No.
but eating out more than once a month, like, I'm trying to limit that I can only order out or eat out once a month because it's not good calories at all
Right.
for me. And it's starting to, like, again, really add up. And
Mhm.
that's not the reason I had this surgery because that's not
Yeah.
the life I want to have anymore. There's a
Yeah.
lot of other things I can do with my friends that don't involve eating. There's a lot of other great stuff that I can do. And so
Yeah.
there's just have those hard conversations, be brutally honest. Don't try to self-soothe or justify keeping things that deep down you can't have. And that's, I think, the hardest part about being obese. You don't want to hear anybody tell you that you're not allowed to have this. You're not allowed to do, like, you always will look for an excuse to be like, that's crap, that's bullshit. I'm going to be able to do it in moderation. It's going to be fine. And it's like, yeah, if we were able to handle this, we wouldn't be in the situation we're in. So just put
Yep.
that in the back of your head because Steph and I are seeing a concerning rise of people on
Mhm.
TikTok that are consistently breaking the rules, like not even three, a month into their surgery, a month in, and they're having iced vanilla lattes from Tim Hortons, full sugar. That's like 25 grams of sugar. And they're like,
Pulled
oh, well,
pork,
I didn't have this surgery to not treat myself. Terrible mentality to have.
right?
Terrible. You're a month post op, and that's not how you should be treating
No,
yourself.
you're in the
You're like,
crucial phases of healing. First of all, let yourself heal, like Jesus. But
yep,
between being in the most crucial part afterwards of healing, and that's we've said before, that's when you have to set those habits should be put in place before surgery, first of
correct.
all. But that's when you need to build that foundation and get those habits in place because if you're already and there's a difference. We'll talk about this on another episode probably because we could go down the rabbit hole for ages on this one because we do every day to each other. But there's a difference between breaking the rules and bending the rules or manipulating the rules or full on breaking them, right?
Full on
Like,
breaking.
okay, they say don't use a straw, but I'm using a straw. Not such a big deal. But when you're 4 weeks out and you're still supposed to be on like purees and starting soft food, and you're already eating chicken, beef, pulled pork, like you said, sugary vanilla lattes, then you
Like, come on.
clearly were not ready for this surgery. And then to then sit there and justify to the world
That it's
that what
okay.
you're doing is okay and to provide um advice to others who are in the same situation, hard no. Hard
Hard
no.
no.
Hard no.
Hard no.
So you have to get your shit together before
Guys.
you have the surgery, or if you're just looking to get on a weight loss or health and wellness journey, you got to sit down and get your shit together, bottom line. And until you can get the mental shit where it needs to be,
You won't
you
succeed.
won't be able to do it. We can say it from experience.
Yeah.
That is the number one. Tracking food's great. Making better choices is great. Moving your body is great. But until you sit down and get the mental piece sorted out,
Mhm.
there's you're not gonna do it.
No. And, Steph's right. We'll have a whole episode about that. But um, the rise of people who've had surgery that are just out here telling people, I didn't have surgery not to eat what I want to eat. And I didn't have surgery to not spoil myself. And I'm still losing weight. So, like, trust me, trust me. It's like, I don't trust anybody who's less than a year post-op, to be perfectly honest,
Yeah.
because um,
Yep.
you're going to lose weight in the beginning. It's natural, but you're blatantly not following the rules. You're eating way over the calorie count. You're
Yep.
eating things that you're just not supposed to eat because you're like, quote, I feel great. It feels good. Okay. You're not literally not promoting the program
No.
at all. And there's a reason we have a program. There's a reason you're supposed to follow things.
Yep.
And this is my biggest thing. If you're already going into surgery knowing that you're going to be breaking rules and knowing that you're not going to listen to things and knowing that you just don't do
Don't
it,
do it.
because you will gain the weight back. There is an alarming amount of people who regain all the weight and then some. There's an alarming amount of people who lose less than 30% of their excess weight in the first year.
Yep.
Less than. That means that some of you will lose 40 pounds. And that's still incredible, but that's it. You won't be losing the 160 pounds, the 100 plus pounds that a lot of us lose, because that involved a fuck ton of work. That involved actually having to say no, 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 no. It wasn't easy. But now that I'm 2 years post op, I'm allowed to introduce some things back into my
Yeah.
diet. But do not look at me and think this is what you should be doing a month after surgery.
No.
It's not. And I'm
No.
sorry that in your first year, you have to give stuff up. We didn't get fat eating salad. Okay. We
Boom.
got fat because this is what
Boom.
we do. We
Yeah.
look for excuses. We look for justification. We look for the easy way out. And yeah, it has to be hard,
Gotta
guys.
stop.
Like
Gotta
it
stop.
has to be work.
Yeah.
It doesn't work if you don't work. So it's not going to be painful. Like you should have an easy, good surgery, but it's not going to be easy. Like you're going to have to say no. And even if you feel like you can eat it and it doesn't hurt your
Doesn't
stomach,
mean you should.
doesn't mean you should be eating it. Like I said before, in the early days of surgery, I could eat fucking chicken wings and I had to go, this probably is not what I should be eating.
Yeah.
I kept saying, well, it's high protein and it tastes really good. And I was like, what the fuck are you doing? Like I had to have a huge
Yeah.
conversation with myself about, I don't give a fuck if you can eat this.
Yeah.
This is terrible. You wouldn't be doing this if you were fat and feeling good about it.
Right?
Stop doing it now. And it
Yep.
was hard to get to 160 plus pounds of weight loss.
Yeah.
Like, it was not easy. And I fight tooth and nail every day to not go back into those old habits and to
Yep.
keep being successful. But I'm shocked by the rise of the amount of people that are like, I'm 10 days post op and I'm having Diet Coke and Doritos and I'm 32 days post op and I haven't lost any weight. It's like,
Do you wonder why?
I wonder why. But then it's all the justification. Well, you're
You're
swollen.
still doing great.
Well, it's you have muscle gain and and it's like,
No, you don't. Not
or
a
do you
month
want
out.
to call out the fact that they're drinking 25-gram sugar ice lattes,
Right?
that they're literally eating full portions of food
That
when
they're
they
eating 770 calories, which I was at 2 weeks ago at 6.5 months post op.
yes.
Girl, let's be real.
Let's be honest. And the reason that this is a problem is your hunger and your appetite scales.
Yeah.
Okay. So, like, you're supposed to go slow to heal your stomach, to mentally learn how to reportion and eat less. And, if
Learn your cues.
you're supposed to be on a liquid diet for a week after surgery, then you're on pureed for about 28 days, then you're on soft food, then you go to regular food.
Yeah.
This person woke up and decided, I don't give a fuck, and went straight to regular food less than a month after surgery. And the response was, yeah, well, I have friends that have done it, so I'm going to do it. It's like, okay, you didn't get fat making good life choices.
No.
I'm tired of it because there's so many people that have had surgery or who are about to have surgery that keep looking to these people and going, oh my God, I love
Oh, it's
this. I want to
fine.
do this. You're so
Yeah.
real. This is great. And like, I'm begging my bariatric people out there that know this is wrong to please start commenting on these
Right?
things and saying, hey, there's a reason, there's guidelines. You should probably be following them. Hey, you had your surgery in Ontario. We had our surgery in Ontario. We actually know several people that have had surgery at that
Yep.
exact clinic. I know for a fact you are not allowed to have 25 grams of sugar in a coffee,
No.
and that you're supposed to be having less than 10 grams per serving. Per serving of food, less than 10 grams. I also know that in no way should you be eating full food that soon after surgery and then have the nerve to get on there and complain that you haven't lost weight in 3.5 weeks.
Gee, I wonder why.
And everybody justifies it though. Everybody's telling her that it's
Comments are all,
totally
you're
fine,
doing a
it's
great
totally
job.
normal.
Just keep going. You're doing great. You got this. No, you're
Blows my mind.
Oh,
Blows my mind.
we're gonna go down the rabbit hole.
I
But
know.
yeah,
Sorry.
like eating eating portions bigger than I am. And I am almost 7 months post op.
And it's not it is not a because I know there's another toxic side of bariatric surgery that we do need to address. It is not a medal that you eat less than other people.
No,
You don't get a special fucking
no,
parade, and I don't think that you're God's gift to bariatric
no.
surgery because you barely eat. Because
That's
that
not
has
good.
fucked me up in a
Because
whole
that's not
fucking.
healthy either.
But but but
There's rules for a reason.
this is not that.
Yeah.
There are rules for a reason. You need to follow the rules in your first year. You need to be pretty strict with them, or you don't have the right to complain about not losing weight.
Yep.
Because I can guarantee you this person is going to start blaming surgery for failing. Go on Reddit on any given day, and you'll see so many posts going,
It didn't
surgery
work for
failed.
me.
Surgery's a joke. I shouldn't have had surgery. Bah, bah, bah. And then you'll see the actual truthful people, because Reddit's vicious, who will say, oh, honey, the surgery didn't fail. You failed. It's your eating,
Yep.
it's your habits. The surgery does not fail. You failed to work the surgery.
Yep.
And that's the God's honest truth. And it's just, yeah, it's very concerning to me to see somebody saying that this is what bariatric surgery is like. This is working. It's totally normal, blah, blah, blah. And then in the same breath, turn around and say, stop bragging about not eating so much. And it's like, I get where you're coming from. People that are a year post-op shouldn't be bragging about barely eating. That's
Yeah.
fucked. But you're actually not supposed to be eating that much that soon after surgery. It is not a medal either that you've soared ahead and you're eating a full cup of food. I got to a full cup of food a year post-op. I was still at like 3/4 of a cup from like month 6 to month 10. Even now, I'm just at a cup, and I can kind of barely go over a cup. So you're kind of fucking yourself
Yep.
because you're saying it feels good. It shouldn't, and you're telling people you're giving people excuses to go make bad habits. So just beware, because there's a lot of them. It's not just this one person, there's a lot of them. And Steph and I have noticed that a lot of them have suddenly dropped off of social media, are no longer posting. And the sad truth is, because they've gained the weight back, they've stopped losing, they're regaining, and they don't want anyone to see it. Because again, you're not following the guidelines that are set out for your literal healing and mental changes. Surgery is not just about the physical. The reason you have to follow a diet and eating plan is the mental aspect, so that you know to make better choices, so that you get in the habit of making better choices. If you come straight out the gate going right back to fast food and eating whatever you want because, quote, I didn't have surgery to not treat myself, good fucking luck then. I
Yeah.
don't know what to tell you. Like,
No,
good
you'll be
fucking.
back to square one within a year.
Oh, it's not even within a year. Within 3 months,
Yeah.
they will either have to have completely changed everything and follow the rules, or they'll lose like 30 pounds. That's my guess. 30 pounds. And they'll be complaining the whole time that they're not losing weight.
Yeah.
They will
Yep.
lose weight. That's the dangerous thing, is they're going to probably hear this, or someone will point out to them, I've said this, and there'll be a big Twitter fight or TikTok fight going on. But they'll be like, I am losing weight. Look at all the weight I'm losing. And they were wrong. See how wrong they were? Again, don't listen to people that haven't been a year post-op. She's going to lose weight. They're going to
Yeah.
lose weight. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
And you're going to then take that weight loss and go, well, clearly if they lost weight and did whatever they wanted, it's great. Please relook at that person a year, 2, 3, 4 years post-op. Do not, and like, I know I'm only 2 years post-op and I know what I'm saying. Do not follow advice of people that are less than a year.
Yep.
Like, Steph's advice is never anything to do with your success long term. She's telling you about what she's feeling now, what she's learning now, what she's
Yep.
doing now. But Steph has never told you guys what to do, because she's still in her
Because I
first year.
don't know. Because
And
I
I'm
don't
also
know.
still learning.
Yeah.
I'm also still learning.
But I think
So
it all
please,
goes back to the whole thing of whether it's bariatric surgery, whether it's we'll call it regular natural weight loss, whether it's just wanting to get healthier, it all starts with the mental. It all starts with making sure you are in a good mental headspace, that you're prepared to take ownership and accountability, and that you are prepared to say what's done is done. What's in the past is in the past, but I want a new start.
and I
I'm ready
won't
to put in the
repeat.
work. Yep, and I'm not going back there. And
I'm
it's
not
okay if that
back.
takes you a while to get to that point, because it's a hard thing to do. But at the end of the day, what this all boils down to is you got to own it. You got to be accountable, and then you got to start
Yep.
fresh.
Have the hard conversations. Do
Yeah.
not sugarcoat it. Do not look for excuses. If you find yourself self-soothing or making excuses, you're going in the wrong direction. start to really identify your triggers, your black and whites,
Yep.
your really slippery slopes. It will benefit you now to think about those things and then start kind of setting some of those hard limits. What's the animal inside of you? Is it a wolf? Is it a pig? Is it a whale? Is it whatever? I think the pig's kind of funny, to be
I think so
perfectly
too.
honest.
Made
But
me smile.
identify what that sounds like. And this is just exactly what I am taught in therapy. Keep thought records, right? You write down when those thoughts come in that you want to eat. You need to eat. You need to do this. Oh, you're fine. Like you write down, what was I doing? What time? Why did I have that thought? What was I feeling? You start to document so you can track your triggers. Is it a week before your period? Is it during stressful times? Is it in the summer when you're barbecuing? You need to start figuring out where your potential issues could be
Mm-hmm.
and plan around them. Doesn't mean you have to erase them entirely, but you plan around them.
Yep.
But yeah, we didn't get fat eating salad. We don't want to go back to being fat again. We thank our former bodies for
Yep.
trying,
Yep.
but the biggest thing that's setting Steph and I up for success now is just being brutally honest and stopping the excuse train.
100%. It's done.
It is.
She
So I know
docked.
this is a heavy topic and we got a bit heated, and trust us, we'll talk about influencers again one day.
Oh
We
yeah.
just don't want to start a fucking TikTok war,
No.
but boy, there's some things we need to cover. Next week, we're going to be talking about the biggest request from everyone:
Mm-mm.
dating and relationships.
Yeah, we've had this come up so many times. So
So get
stay
excited.
tuned.
I'm going to talk about trying to date. But yeah, we're going to cover it. We're going to talk about it. We'll probably revisit this topic too. But
Yep.
next week is all about dating and relationships after bariatric surgery. So if you have questions and you want me to cover anything and Steph to cover anything, you go ahead
Let
and
us
send them on
know.
social. And we also might have some exciting news to talk about next week too, about potential podcast stuff, but we'll keep you guys updated then. Um, like always, we love that you listen and follow along. Let us know any guests that you'd like us to have. And hey, do
Mm.
you want us to bring Cass back? Because we want to bring Cass back.
We'll do it.
What should we talk to her about? But yeah, we'll see you next week for dating and relationships.
Awesome.
And like always, Steph, thanks for chatting with me today.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
See ya.